course.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think Chess 960 could be the future of chess in a lot of ways because I believe that, or it certainly looks like chess has evolved to the point with computers and so forth where the top players are, they kind of know all the openings and all the, follow-up moves, different lines and so forth. And it's kind of, I think to me, 960 is a more pure version of chess, because you start with this random position, you can't really prepare in the same way.
Mhm.
So I find it fascinating, um, and a really interesting alternative. So I see it, maybe being even more and more popular and a much bigger, maybe even eventually taking over classical chess potentially someday.
That's interesting. Is as a as a disruptor, basically.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I think computers are forcing the game to evolve, and I think that's maybe where it goes.
Yeah. Previously, it was a matter of opening knowledge and masters studying openings, theoreticians, and your ability to
Yep.
memorize whatever they put out there. And now we combine that with computers, and it's like, well, you're basically just playing a computer for the first 5 or 10 or even more moves in certain variations of the Sicilian and so forth. So that's an
Yep.
interesting
Yeah.
prospect of it actually taking over classical chess. Well, yeah, certainly it's become really big recently. It was the kind of thing where like a little over a decade ago, I'd say I was an advocate for it, and it wasn't that popular, I think, especially it wasn't mainstreamed as much. But now I feel like I don't
Right.
really have, I mean, I'll continue to advocate for it, but now it's really just taken off, because when you have the elite players, playing it, and
Yeah.
it's broadcast on chess.com and Twitch and everything,
Yep.
leadchess.org. So it's happening already. Yeah.
Absolutely. Some of those tournaments have been really fun to watch too. Some of the 960 tournaments that the top players have
Yeah, you get
participated in.
fascinating positions. Really fun. And
Yeah.
then after a little while, they're just playing chess, and that's the thing. Whereas, as you said, it's the purest
True.
version of chess. So it's not something that's like so offbeat. Like I don't know, something like Bug House, Crazy House, that kind of thing is fun, or Fog of
Right.
War. They're all fun, but they're definitely far from a pure version of chess that we've all come to love, like over the last 1,000+ years, right?
Yep.
So the thing
Definitely.
is, it's the closest thing I'd say to actually just playing chess. So we still get all the intellectual stimulation and everything that a regular chess game offers, and even more so because you're not playing against a theoretician or a computer, it's someone's basic memory, you know. So
Yep.
let's jump into it. Yeah, we could just play some games if you want.
Sure. Whatever you want to do. I think we could do that. I don't really play it that much, so that could be
Yeah,
fun.
let's just set up a game then. How much do you guys play at Matt, Leia? Do you guys play a lot or a good amount?
I think I've played only one or two games of 960.
Okay, well here we go. How about
I
you, Leia?
played it a couple of times too.
Just a couple times, and then you guys haven't played more than five or so.
Yeah, I'm a rookie too.
All right. Who wants to play first? Shall we roll the randomization? We can go on random.org. I
I'll
can go
do
on
it.
random.org. What's that? Leia, you want
I'll
to go?
do it.
Okay. Or you could just volunteer. Yeah, right. You can go on random.org and use the atmosphere. So apparently it's the most random version of, of online randomization because it uses atmospheric noise to create the numbers. So people use it for lotteries and stuff too. But anyway, we don't need to do. Oh, well, okay, Matt, Dave, which one of you guys wants to go? Who's up for it?
Sorry,
Or pick a
sorry,
number
I'm
between
eating a sandwich.
one and
I'll
10.
I'll play. I'll play. Sure.
All right, Dave and Leia. Okay, do you guys want to play on lead chess?
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
I could, yeah, I could just screen share it. So that way I can, let me see. I could kind of just, I can fit it for the screen.
Okay. Can't promise a great game, but so how
Okay.
does that?
Uh,
I don't
So we
play that
have
often on Lee Chess.
Leia, you're on your Tiger account.
Yes.
Okay. Um, and Dave, are you on lead chess? random.org?
Yeah, David MCD123.
Okay. So I will go ahead and share screen on the game.
How do we set it up?
And you can challenge. I don't know. I would say I think 10 plus 10 is a happy medium. What do you guys think? 15, 10, 10 plus, you want to do 15 plus 10? Or 10 plus 10?
I think 10 plus 10 is fine.
Is that fine with you, Leah?
Yes.
Okay, and we could do unrated.
Okay.
Or as they put it, casual. All right, no pressure. We'll just have fun and kind of, we could even just discuss it. It's just just a practice scenario to get a feel for how you approach this novel situation. Well, novel one, at least you only see it 1 out of 960 times on average.
Right. So how do we
Relatively.
typically set up a Lee chess game?
Just challenge chess 960. You go under play a friend. You have to go under play a friend. Yeah, it's kind of weird the way you have to go about it, but then
Damn,
Okay.
I'm not used to doing this. So you go to play. I see play, create lobby game, arena
No,
tournaments.
yeah, not lobby game. Go over to on the right when you're in the main area. Go to challenge a
Oh,
friend,
challenge a friend. I see.
and then you could just put her name. I mean, I don't think you even have to be connected yet. Just put her name in.
So there's
Tiger
chess
combo.
960.
Where it says
Casual
standard, you
game.
click on standard, then go down one. Actually, that's the second one they have.
Yeah, I see that. And then random side, challenge a friend.
Yeah.
Um,
And then and casual, and then, yep. And
what's
then
her
you
name? It's
type
what's her
Tiger combo. Go type in Tiger combo. You should see her on there.
Tiger Combo 85?
Yep. And I will then follow your page, one of your.
Where's I didn't see the timing on the game there.
Yeah, you have to go back. I think you have to do it before then. There's like there's like a scale, like a sliding thing.
All right.
10, 10.
Let's what is this game set for? I don't see it.
Looks like unlimited.
I mean, you could do unlimited.
Okay.
You could do that too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you guys want. Just or you could do you prefer to do timed?
I don't think we need to do timed. It's okay.
Yeah,
Are you
fine.
okay with that, Leah?
Fine.
Yeah, even if we don't finish it, then you guys could just play it later. Okay, so games. There it is, live game. And
Now you can still castle.
yes, regular castling. I saw something post by Susan Polgar once. She has a picture of herself with Bobby Fischer going over how they figured out where the king would go and things like that. So it's interesting. I didn't know that she played a big role in it. So yeah, and they determined that, let's say you're white here, the king is going to stay on c1. It's going to be on c1 for queen side. For the king side, it's going to go to g1. So it'll go to the regular place it goes when you castle for standard chess. But the thing is, since you're on c1, your rook will just go over to d1. So all you got, so for white or for black, you just move your knight out and you can castle immediately. Just touch your king to your rook. That's it. So what do you guys make of this position? Let me move it over a little bit. Yeah, what do you guys make of this? Pretty good starting position, right?
Some ways it doesn't look all that different from the regular position.
Yeah, the right side. Well, the right side's almost the same, except the queen's on the wrong color, the quote wrong
Right.
color. But then the left side's pretty different. And also, I always look at which squares are undefended. Because, like, normally, well, the F pawn is defended once in a regular game. Here, it's defended twice. So I would look for other pawns that are minimally defended or undefended. Which would be what? So, yeah, the E pawns are fine. There's one pawn that's completely undefended, which is, and I just look on my own side and look defensively. I'm like, well, if mine's weak, then theirs is weak too, right? So which is the one that's weak, that's undefended? At least you want to know that from the start to know where your vulnerabilities are. Then you have to coordinate. So where's an undefended and an undefended pawn? Think about that. And
Well, A has no defenders.
He has A pawn, and actually the D pawn is guarded by the king and the queen. No, that's fine too. That's fine too. Because if he castles, but if he were to go like queen, king side or something, then only the queen would be threatened. So, but pretty much maybe the C pawn, possibly that's only guarded by the king. Yeah, C and A pawns mostly. So anyway, now let's see how they fight for the center and try to coordinate everything. So E4 is a good start by Leia. Get that, yeah. Get the bishop out, get the queen out, control the center. So let's see what Dave wants to do to counteract that. Meet her in the middle. All right. So how do you try and get the edge over your opponent? Do you just bring the pieces out, or do you go for a break or what? That's always the question I ask myself. If I want to, I mean, generally speaking, I try to make a pawn break, but you want to do that in tandem with good piece development. Or you wait, or you finish getting them out, then you do it afterwards. And she can castle too. Yeah, I'll go like this. Let me see. I'll do this. Yeah, it's fine. I'll just come over here so you can see everything. Okay, so we have symmetry so far. Who's going to break it?
Sorry, I didn't realize my microphone was turned off.
Oh, yeah.
I've been talking.
Oh no, what were you saying?
Just that, yeah, symmetry, essentially.
Anything else that we missed? If you want to give us a synopsis, if you said a lot of things.
Yeah, I was a little worried about the A1 bishop, but we both sort of blocked him in.
Your
My
AA,
A8, their A1, yeah. So she opened it up, which is sort of what I noticed too. So it makes it kind of
yeah, that's easy. That's easy to get out there. So this one though, in terms of Matt, you're saying sort of normal, sort of normal position in terms of the ability to get them out. Well, the knights are coming out the regular way, F3, C3 maybe. Yeah, and actually the fact that the bishop's in the corner makes it easier for your bishop. You castle, you just touch. Remember, you would touch your king to your rook, and then your rook would just go on the other side of your king. It's kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
I also like the ones.
Yeah.
Well, it'll go pretty far too. If you touch the king to your other rook, you'll go from C1 to G1. It was pretty cool. One of the things that made me fall in love with Chess 960 early on, it was on chess.com turn-based games, is I castled. I went from like B1 to G1, and then I checkmated them with the castle. So I was like, this is cool.
Oh wow.
This is very
That's
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I see what Leah's doing. That's interesting. I think I need to not copy that. Actually, think. Yeah, it's not going to work, is it? I think I'm going to get my bishop out. I guess one thing to think about is where do you want to castle? I'm going to basically get my bishop into the game here.
Natural, yeah. Okay. So it's kind of resembling a London. You're kind of falling back on a London slash
It does
Italian.
look like a London.
It could be an Italian or a London kind of thing. Yeah, more so a London because the pawn it would be like a D pawn, even though it's an E pawn defended by the queen. So you're falling back on a structure that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
With a little twist.
Like I'm kind of wondering if Leah's not going to play. Like when
she's prophylactically prevented. I mean, you could have checked, she would have blocked, but now you're not able to check her anymore. So that was a good prophylactic move right there.
Yep.
Filling in that
I got my bishop sort of similarly stuck in the corner. actually think I'm gonna.
Like I
copy
said,
that.
at some point, so at some point, you guys are going to clash. It's a matter of how. So you want to have the upper hand when that occurs.
Right.
Well, it's pretty much, well, it's either pawn clash or piece invasions or both. So it's a matter of you. I'm not going to say anything about that. That's up to you guys. Just general observations.
Interesting.
It could also be a Roy Lopez now.
Sorry, David, you're cutting in and out for me. I'm not
Oh,
sure if
I said it could also be like a Roy
it's
Lopez
me or
now.
you.
Is it? Are you guys
Oh,
hearing me
okay.
all right?
Yeah. Huh. Interesting move.
Makes sense.
Yep. Ah, okay.
You guys just getting comfortable development. Only one couple of tiny differences.
Yeah.
And of course, another big question is where am I going to castle? That's the perennial
Yep.
question, right? King side or queen side, or not at all. The
Right.
castling is pretty easy for in this case for well, you have it available immediately. So there's should you invade with pieces? Where should you castle and should you clash? And same thing for your thinking for your opponent about those three things. Those are the things that I have in mind. Obviously, there's piece coordination, but you guys are doing a good job at that. And yeah, kind of what Matt was alluding to, since it's somewhat regular, it's what we're used to. It's pretty easy to get everything out. You guys have already got all your minor pieces in place. So what do you think about this? Kind of want to be transparent about kind of how you're
Yeah.
analyzing what's going on.
I'm looking for tactics here a little bit too, just to see if there isn't something because
Oh, right, right. Well, that was a good thing that Leia just did that then, probably.
Yeah, it was a good move. Yeah, I actually. I don't know. Do I want to trade off a bunch of pieces? Do we? I'm got to think about what I really want to do here. I think I'm
See,
just
I'll look at it
gonna.
from your side for a moment. Just flipping it for black. Let's see.
I think I'm gonna just. Bring this out.
Okay. Interesting. So your queen's coming out. She can be attacked in multiple ways. The question is whether it does anything. I assume you looked at it and figured, okay, I can handle that.
Yeah.
Go back to Leia's side. Let's see. Yeah, again, I'm looking at, I mean, obviously, okay, the queen has made a commitment. She's come out. Is she sticking her neck out? That's always the question. And like I said, you can attack her in various ways, and then you just have to assess whether those do anything.
Yeah, I really only. Well, see to see. I'm not sure I understand how to castle.
Yeah, that's kind of it's interesting. They're just I'm gonna put them on the side actually because this position just presents a series of questions, right?
Sorry, you cut in and out, David.
Oh, can you guys hear me okay, Matt and Leia? Are you hearing
I'm hearing you.
are you
Okay,
hearing
maybe
me?
it's my headphones. Sorry.
Are they have a battery in them? Like battery powered headphones?
Oh, they're charged. It should be all right.
Huh.
Might be the Bluetooth. Maybe I'll just try. I'll take them off and switch.
Okay. If it's really messing with the connection or your ability to hear me. Yeah, so I mean, but fundamentally there are a few questions. I mean, I can almost like just type them on the side here. I've used that for a while. Where is that type thing? Here it is. I'll put it in the spectator room. Actually, I could no, I'll just put it here on the side. So it's like just basic stuff, right? Which way to castle? Make it smaller. Doesn't say. Oh, I just do this. So let's see. 1.
How about now? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me fine?
Volume's coming out of my.
So like 1, which way to castle?
How about now?
Yep, I hear you. So which way
All
to
right.
castle? Can I break?
What does what would a castle look like?
So where do you think you would end up if you were to castle?
I'm not hearing anything.
Just a quick idea.
Say something now. I'm sorry, I haven't been able to hear.
How about now?
All right, yeah, I can hear.
So yeah, I just put like these are fundamental questions, right? The things that I see in front of me. You know, you
Yeah.
figured out, but maybe you see additional questions. But which way to castle? Very obvious. Can I break?
Yeah.
Can I make a pawn break somewhere? Should I invade with my pieces? And also that this entails that there are certain squares that you are controlling more than your opponent and vice versa.
Right.
So can you? I mean, obviously you have knight hops, right? Things like that. So those all need to be weighed out. I mean, of course,
Yeah,
Leia
so
does
I
have
think
she has a bishop check, but you can easily block. But that's obviously there, but that's probably easily dealt with. So neither one of you seem to be concerned about that. What's that, Dave?
sorry, I've been having trouble hearing for the last.
Did you take off the headphones?
Yeah, now I can hear, but it's a little faint. Let me turn the
Huh.
volume up. All right, there we go. So my question is, what does a castle look like if I castle to the left?
How do you think it would look? It's regular. It'll be regular once you're there.
I see.
So your rook will be on D1. That's literally you just hop your rook over your king. You don't even move your king in this case.
So my rook would go to D1?
Yeah. Your rook would just go to D1. So you would just need to. I don't think it's a king move still. So you would touch your king to your rook, if you want a castle.
So that's not much of a.
Oh, for you it's D8. Yeah, I'm looking at Leia's side. For you it's D8. Yeah, king touches rooks. Not that much changes, right? It allows you
So
to
I
move your
have,
king. You can move your king to B8, but
yeah, but what if I want to go the other direction? That was my question.
oh, the other way it looks like it'll go to G8. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's there for you. Yeah, that'll be kind of fun. You can show us how that looks if you move your king from C8 to G8. So you touch the rook. You still touch the rook with your king. Your king to your you can click on your king. I'm not sure if it lets you click on G8. You can definitely click your king to what options is it giving you? B7, D8. Is it letting you move your king to G8 or just touch your other rook with your king?
Let me just try touching the other. Well, let me see. I'll touch.
If
No,
you
it's not
touch, if
giving
you
me
touch
the
your,
option for G8.
you can touch and touch or touch and click and drag it on top of it usually.
There we go.
I remember there was some discussion about that on chess.com,
Yeah.
I think, right? About whether you can touch it on top of the other piece. I don't know what ended up happening with that. I think you can do both, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you've committed. Now Leia can make it an opposite side castling scenario or just follow suit and have a pretty close position. But if she opts to go queen side, then suddenly you have a new imbalance to work with. I mean, one of the things about castling queen side is that it's like, hey, there's nothing going on here. Now we both have something very clear to do. I mean, there's a very real possibility of just going right after each other's opponent's kings, just shoving pawns and everything at your opponent's kings if you're castling on the opposite side. Obviously, if you're on the same side, pushing your pawns in front of your king entails more risk. So you would be able to, and you guys know about that, I think, right? If you're on the queen side, you can push your king side pawns with abandon. And yes, it will create weaknesses, just not in front of your king. But the weaknesses are still there because pawns leave weaknesses in their wake, right?
How would I castle?
You would touch your king to either rook. So you're either going to stay on
Okay.
C1 and go queen side or go to G or copy what he did if you touch your king to your other rook.
Okay.
You're gonna go for the imbalance or symmetry, or hedge it a little bit and wait. Interesting. So you've created an imbalance. There was
There we
really
go.
no, there's really nothing else to work. The only other imbalance is that Leia's bishop's on, has moved one to B2 and yours is still in A8. Everything else is, well, and your queen has moved up one more. So very minute differences in terms of piece placement. But now we have a big difference in piece placement because the king's on C1 versus G8. So it doesn't mean that you have that your plan has to be going after your opponent's king, right? It might be central play. Like Leia's rook is on D1. She can try to play D4. It's not really that easy to play, but that's a possibility still. Obviously, you have to weigh out which side you should take. Well, now we have a new question. Which way to castle is now gone, right? So now the new
Right.
question is, well, should I attack the castle king? Where do I attack?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You made a break. And you're basically saying, okay, well, I don't have to go straight after the king. I mean, maybe it'll cascade there, but I mean, it's obviously not that simple to just, storm the barricades. Larry Christensen wrote a book called Storming the Barricades. It's not easy. And
Right.
it depends on whether, well, speaking of, another attacking book, Vukovic, Art of Attack and Chess, you need the preconditions for attack. I mean, the only thing you can say is, okay, well, we're castling opposite sides, so maybe I have a license to attack their king on the other side. But it's not that simple because, like, to kind of have that quote license, you would need to have some other conditions, a piece, maybe a pawn aiming that way, maybe a maybe the white knight would be on F5 or something, and then the pawns would push. And for you, maybe you'd have pawns coming in. But you can certainly set that up. You can aim to set that up. It's not there yet. But in the meantime, you can play in the center and see what happens. Can't go wrong with central play. But obviously, when you play the move, you have to look into the consequences. Consider, okay, well, she takes my pawn, she opens up her queen, and all that stuff. So there are some considerations there that you probably looked at.
Right.
So obviously the clear candidate moves like, should I take the pawn or not? Right?
Yeah.
Take it, defend it, do something else. Defend it, okay. Securing,
Interesting.
securing the light
I
square.
don't think I really considered that. That's a
Well, at
good
least
move.
it doesn't, in terms of something that if you had missed it, at least it's not an urgent crisis or something like that.
Right.
It gives you a little bit of time to figure out what you want to do. Well, certainly, if she had taken it, would have put additional pressure on your e pawn. That's what I was thinking. And then, she might try and get rid of your knight or something and try to win your e
Yeah.
pawn. That was the tricky. So you looked at that because that's the trickiest part right there. We can look at that later on.
Yeah.
I didn't fully calculate. I just knew like, okay, well, there's some pressure on the e file. Okay, now you have the option to open it or close it or ignore it. Same, or you could just kind of wait and improve. Well, the break happened. So you guys have answered the first two questions, right? Which way
Yeah.
should I castle? Well, you both chose the opposite way. Can I break? Well, you broke. Should I invade with Dave broke? Should I invade with my pieces? That's to be determined. So I'll erase that for now. We pretty much answered those. So just should I? Well, now there's a break, and that'll kind of coincide with peace invasions. Okay. So Matt. Sorry, not Matt. That's not playing. So Dave broke. Leia kind of just stayed solid, and then Dave made another decision to bypass, gaining space but closing the game. Interesting. But given that it's closed, that does actually change things in terms of how you can go after each other's kings, right? And you really don't want to go after each other's kings when the center's open, when there's a lot of action in the center. But now that you've opted to bypass, you can both kind of set up attacks. Well, I doubt anything is going to happen in the middle anytime soon. So wing attacks are now indicated, right?
Yep. Game may go on for a while.
Yeah, at least we can play it on for a little while. But see, now we're actually getting to something that's kind of normal, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting though. Again, coming back to Matt's point. So the Knights are in regular places. I actually had a very interesting game the other day against a Russian guy. It was a really good game. So in that case, I had a knight on A8, and he never got away from A8. I won a piece. The funny thing is, I ended up winning a piece. That became my extra knight. Now he tries to come out. I and then I had to go back in the corner again, but going back in the corner won the game for me. That was my winning move. So we
Oh,
finished the
really?
game with my knight, right? He came out to like C7, I think it was, for one move, and then he had to go back to A8 again. Then he resigned because I just preserved my extra piece. We had like rooks. I can show you guys after this because it's kind of a funny counterpoint. Why don't you guys play on for a little bit, and then we'll kind of be beyond, beyond the novelty of it all, in terms of chess
Yeah.
960, and we can do a couple of these where we start new games. Different people. You guys keep this game going, and we can maybe play another couple. Let's see what happens right here, though. This is a very interesting moment. So, Leia, you actually probably have a few moves that you could think about. What are your candidate moves right now? I'll jot them down as you say your as you find your candidate moves. You probably have a few. What do you see so far?
Knight A4.
So candidate, you guys see me typing, right?
Yep.
Okay, one is knight A4, two.
Knight B1.
Knight B1. So those moves don't lose the knight. Three, anything else? think there's one more move. Think about what that might be, guys. Sort of not that obvious, but once you look at it, it makes sense. What do you think? What else do you guys see? Well, you have direct defensive.
Well, there's-
The only moves to
Bishop
not lose the knight
C4.
directly are knight A4 and knight B1, as Leia said. What else do you have?
Bishop C4.
Bishop C4, well, it just attacks the queen, so that has to be another consideration. On that note, I guess you could take C6. That looks a little more dubious, but it's a move. You know, it's a move. It's a forcing move. Actually, you also have another attack on the queen with your knight. I'll just put that in there, which is I mean, that looks a little less viable, but it is a move. So you have all those moves. But
Yeah.
the moment you look at when you start analyzing Bishop C4, it's like it's very tempting, right? So Leia went for that. Bishop C4, attack the queen. I doubt the pawn wants to take the knight. So Matt, you've got the burden's on you now. And now what are your candidate moves? Well, probably only, I mean, taking the knight, you can probably discard that pretty quickly. It's actually, no, you know what? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It is a move. It is a move because you'll get some pieces for the queen. It's kind of an interesting move. So I'll still put that there as a move. It probably doesn't work, but you never know. Still worthy of at least spending a moment on. So D takes C3. What else?
I was looking at E7, Queen E7, or Queen D6. I was thinking of being on the same diagonal as the bishop,
Uh-huh.
possibly
Reasonable.
swapping my bad bishop for their good bishop.
And also,
Forcing.
yeah, the bishop also guards the king. So that's reasonable. Okay, so getting on the same diagonal. And then I don't know, like active move maybe with the queen. You can other retreats. I mean, you really have what,
Yeah.
like 7 legal moves or something.
Yeah, I mean, I could theoretically swing around to something like G4, attacking
Yeah,
GT
it's a move.
pawn.
Again, it is a move. It is a move. It doesn't look great, right? Because you're like, do I really want to go there? But I don't know. You have to still, I would look at it at least to get a sense and like, well, I don't know if I want to take the pawn or not, but it is a move, right? Has to be at least.
Yeah,
To
I'm
be
kind of
thorough, it
looking.
has to be looked at.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at trading off, if I can, trading off my dark square bishop.
Okay, in that case, you like, yeah, I mean, again, Queen G4, it's like, do you really want the G pawn? Your queen's stuck in there, the rook's coming over, probably not. So it looks like you're not going with that, right? So you're looking at the moves that'll go after support your kind of make a battery technically, and to enable your trade of your bad bishop. But that just means you want to spend some time weighing these moves out. I mean, there's D7, but D7 is not as concrete, right? You're trying to do something concrete. Okay, so that means you're down to these two, and then you want to see if there's any difference between those two moves.
Yeah, I mean, I guess potentially then his bishop. I think I like E7 better because on D6 he can attack my queen again with his knight.
Knight B5, yeah, and then the knight gets away from the threat with a tempo.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm just gonna do this.
All right. So just
I think I'm gonna go to E7.
So we start with potential. Oh, you look at D takes C3 though. It's actually a move. Well, Queen G4, you can look at that for a few seconds. I don't like it. D
Yeah,
take
I
C3.
did.
Just understand why is D take C3 actually still a move that you should at least consider.
Yeah, I did because I get essentially two pieces and a check.
Well, you take the knight. What would Leia do? She would take your queen, right?
Right? And then I take the bishop with check. Then he takes my pawn. Then I take the bishop. So I basically get three pieces for a queen and a pawn.
Right. You give up your queen and your pawn, right? So you're basically giving up 10 and she's giving up 9. So you're like kind of losing a point. It's interesting though. I mean, at least,
It
I always
is
still think about it because
interesting.
like I get rid of the minor pieces and I could try to use my minor pieces on the queen side and stuff. So like I'm just saying, that was an option. So at least think about that for a few moments too. And you've pretty much, but among the queen moves, it looks like you've settled on queen e7. And then I would just entertain the idea of taking on c3. I don't know if it's good or not, but I'm just saying entertain the
Here,
idea and see which one you like.
there.
Well, if you do that, it's going to be a completely different kind of game, right?
Yeah, that completely changes it. And yeah, I would basically then have to really get my rooks behind my pawns and try to promote or force some. I got to win at least one pawn back, even to be even material
Yeah,
wise.
I wouldn't
It's a
think just
fairly
about the pawn though. I would think more about, because it's not all about the pawn. It's more about, are your pieces enough for the queen? Can you really get anything going? Can your opponent create any kind
yeah,
of real pressure on you with their queen? I mean, it's viable. It's a way to go, but probably more accurate is not to, but it's there, it's there as an interesting option.
yeah. I did look at it. It's pretty interesting. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, yeah. You don't get to have the opportunity to have three pieces for a queen every day. So it's kind of, yeah, from a novelty standpoint, that's interesting too. But but again, this is just, now we're definitely beyond the 960 element of it, and you're just playing chess. And that's the thing. Now this was interesting because you really started with symmetry. Yeah, let's go for this. Okay, so you really started with symmetry,
Yeah,
and really Leia. Okay, one, Leia chose to go queen side after you went king side, so she broke it in that way. And two, you chose to break in the center, then bypass. Suddenly we have a pretty imbalanced game. Now imagine you had done the three pieces for the queen for a pawn. Then we would have been about as imbalanced as you can get, right?
right,
So
right.
it's interesting how quickly that could change. Like, oh, this is boring. Nothing's happening. 5 moves later, it's fascinating, right?
Yep.
Now this is pretty interesting though. There's a lot to think about. And now it's obviously your knight's hanging. So once again, you look at some candidate moves, or only 4 moves for your knight. And then you just think about which one. No, wait, 5 moves rather. A4, B5, D5, B1, D2. Oh, sorry, no, it is 4. So you look at the 4 moves for your knight, only 4 legal moves, and you decide which one is the best. And then after that, you'll have done, well, you've already done 10 moves. So do you guys want to move on to another game now? And you guys still have this though, since it's a turn-based game. Leia, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Do you want to make one more move, Leia, or what do you want to do?
Wait, I was muted. I said I'll make one more move.
Yeah. So what do you want to do about the knight?
Um,
Which option? What do you think about those 4 options?
I was thinking of knight b5, but then there's always the threat of a6, and then I would just be back in the same situation. Or
Actually, it would be bad. No, that would actually be not only the
yeah,
same situation, but it would be really bad because you couldn't even go to
yeah.
D3. So not that. Okay, you can write that off. What else?
Um, knight d5, and then there would be an exchange of knights, and then, but then I don't know. I'm concerned about where black c knight might end up, so I
So
don't
you have
know
to
what
look at
that.
you have to look at that's actually quite interesting because it's a natural follow-up to bishop c4, right? Because you gain a tempo on the queen with bishop c4. In doing so, you can latch on to d5. And in terms of who squares, well, he has more of the dark squares, you have more of the light squares. So it's kind of like, in terms of a license, in a way, it's like you have a license to take the light squares, right? So if you can, it's possible for sure. Um, so think about it, definitely think about it. But in terms of being worried, don't, well, sure, you can be vigilant about it, but just look at it concretely. So you go knight d5. He either moves the queen, which throws him off, or he takes. Let's assume if he moves, fine, you go from there. Let's say he takes, that's the critical line. Now then you have two candidate moves or branches off. You have pawn takes or bishop takes. What do you make of those?
I think it could be advantageous maybe to take with the bishop. I don't know.
And you so that way you're not doubling your pawns and you're just posted on d5. That's not bad. Now, if you take with the pawn, you're doubling your pawns. It's interesting though. Let's look at that briefly. Just objectively look at it. So you go, your bishop feels a little weird on c4, doesn't? Then he's the one who might be sticking his neck out, which I assume you're worried about, right? On c4. But hypothetically, let's just look at it. So you go knight d5, he takes with the knight, you take with the pawn. So your pawn shifts from e4 to d5. What's the consequence of that? Or consequences?
Threatening threatening the C knight.
What else is happening by moving your pawn from e4 to d5?
It's passed, but it's surrounded by enemy forces.
It is surrounded by enemy forces. Yeah. Well, technically, it's
Yeah.
not. Technically, it's not passed because right. Concern. Technically, it's not passed because the pawn is not on c5. It's on c7, right? So
Yes.
if it were, yeah. So technically, not yet. I mean, it's kind of interesting thing. If you were to say, okay, so let's say the pawn's on c6. If they have c6, you can push to d6, but you're not really passed until you've actually made it past their pawns, right? So technically not. But e takes d5. Okay. So just to clarify, so okay. His knight goes, let's say, to b4. I don't know, b4 or a5. Let's say a5. He's looking at your bishop. So you have to worry about your bishop for sure. I see that.
Well, if I go to b4, then I have two attackers on the pawn.
And that, and you're hitting a2. Yeah, so I think that's why Leia's like probably opting for, if she does knight d5, she's looking at bishop takes because it's safer. But I would add though, I just, since we're talking about it, I will add, I'll use a brighter color. I would add that after knight d5, knight takes d5, e takes d5, you are unleashing your queen against e5, which works in cahoots with the knight. I want to say the word cahoots. It works in cahoots with the knight on e5, and you can also bring the rook, further collaborating, right? Yeah. So it is a thing to look at, but actually the thing that I would be concerned about is, well, Leia's already pinpointed that, the bishop right there. So it's like, okay, you get some stuff in here, you got the pressure here, but the bishop is kind of the sticking point, right? So concretely, what's going to happen to your bishop? You take, the knight goes to b4. Now, Leia, what would you have to worry about with respect to your bishop on c4? Oh, not to mention that you could take the pawn back, but just technically, just to look at the bishop for a second.
Oh yeah, I see it.
You have to worry about the bishop, Leia. You've already said that basically, but why specifically do you have to worry about that bishop?
Hmm.
If it would be under attack if black plays knight b4.
Well, like, okay, so he goes, let's say your moves are red, your moves are blue, his are red. So let's say, or pink, I guess. Okay, hot pink. So here we go. Okay, so you come in with the knight, he takes, you take back with the pawn. His knight hops down to b4, hitting your pawn. But how about your bishop on c4? What kinds of things could he do against this bishop to make it vulnerable, or to prove that it's vulnerable? Also, he would be hitting your A pawn and your D pawn. Yeah, things are just in trouble, right? But let's just finish this by saying what's going to happen to the bishop. What can you do to your bishop? because he doesn't have that mobility like he would have if he were to go to d5. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the other stuff. Just imagine, just think about the vulnerability of this bishop layer right here. Imagine, okay, the knight's gone from c3, right? So what kinds of things can not Matt, see Matt's name. What kinds of things could Dave do to your bishop on c4 to get it? To try to make him real uncomfortable.
Knight a5.
There's that, but even after knight b4, even if he does this, he can get it, and that's one way. What's the other way to get it if it's on besides the knight? Who else can go after it? That's but it's specifically after the knight d5 line. So the knight wouldn't even be there. So his knight would be on b4, and your knight from c3 would be traded off. What else can he do to aim at your bishop on c4? Who else can look at him? Just look at in terms of what's available for him.
b5.
B5. You guys looking at that? You
Yeah.
guys saw that? So it would be knight d5, knight takes, pawn takes, knight b4. The moment that knight b4 happens, you got to look at this because it's actually possible now. Before the knight covers it, now the knight's gone from c3. That's actually, I think, probably just winning. There might be like d6 or something like that, but it's a mess. And as you said, I like how you said the pawn is surrounded by enemy forces, right? He's a sitting duck, and it doesn't help. But hey, like we're looking at this because it's very important. Like if I were looking, I'd be looking at this. I'd be looking at knight d5, and I'd be looking at takes, and I'd be thinking, okay, well, I can safely take with the bishop, but let me just look into this because I like my first inclination was, hey, if I take, I can go pick off his e pawn, right? So you have to look at it. I would spend a good amount of time looking at that and looking at knight d5 and just looking at something else. I don't know. I mean, this gets dismissed. Knight b5 is dismissed. Knight b1 is solid but really passive. But hey, if you're worried about bishop a3, it's the defensive move to make.
Yep.
But knight g5 is the active move. And so I would look at, let's say you compare this, and this. Knight a4, okay, it doesn't do anything because he's going to move his bishop anyway. So I think it's either knight g5 or knight b1, the passive move or the active move. And then you would look at takes. Okay, we've settled on bishop takes. And then you would quickly assess that position, or how quickly, but you would look at that position with bishop on d5, and then say, okay, I like it, or I don't like it, right? And knowing he can play bishop a3 as he wants to do. So what do you think? Or you just go back and it's kind of passive, and you're trying to figure things out. But then you have to assess how much do I care about his bishop coming into my territory, you know? How much do I care about bishop a3? If you do care about it, then you don't allow it and you go knight b1. If you don't care about it that much, you go knight b5. So that's kind of where it's at right now. And you have this now. So we look at a lot of things and it becomes more of a binary choice. And then once you make that decision, maybe Matt can hop in to a game, play a little bit more.
Ew. You want me to play?
Sure.
If you're up for it.
Oh, that means I gotta go find Lee Chess.
You're not on lead chess.
Well, I'm just not logged in.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you do that while we're doing the last move here? Or I can show you. I mean, if you don't feel like playing right now, I can just show you. Like I can show you a GM game. I can show you what happened against the Russian guy the other day. It was pretty fun. It was a fun game. So we can look at some games too. It's up to you. Okay, so I feel like this should be the way to go. And that's what I was thinking when you went queen e7. I'm like, well, the queen does get hit by knight e5. Again, my original calculation, the first time I looked, I thought, well, I don't know, but Dave, because then you got to worry about takes, you got to worry about your e pawn. Hey, maybe E takes D5 is I'm not totally ruling it out. I wouldn't totally rule it out. It's still there as a possibility. And of course you don't have to take it either. Now you look at takes or you look at a queen move, right? That's all you got. Queen somewhere or knight takes.
Yeah,
And
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure I knew what I wanted to do when I walked into it.
you're just gonna chop it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Leia, why don't you think? I mean, hey, E takes D5. We've 90% sure, like we're pretty sure that we've done our calculations that we don't want to take with the pawn, but it's in front of you now. You can see everything clearly, right? We're two move. You've made a move. He's made a move. The capture is right in front of you, so it's easier to visualize. So I always revisit it when it's in front of me. So yeah, you can think about that either now or I think as we say, we just make one more move. It's up to you. And then Matt, yeah, you're just not going to mess with the doubled pawns. And nice and clean. And then obviously you do have to reckon with this bishop a3 stuff. It's not like it's going to checkmate right away. Oh, and another factor actually weighing in your favor or weighing a little bit against Dave's attack to the degree that it'll take him longer is that the rook begins on b8 and not a8, right? If it were on a8, I'd be a little more worried because then a5, a4, right? But now the bishop needs to move and the rook needs to move. So in order for the rook to be introduced via the a file, by the direct, attack on the a file to rip open the h file, sack and make kind of thing, like Fisher said about the dragon, you need to spend two moves, right? So that gives white two extra moves to try to orchestrate some stuff over here, whether it be pawn shoves or knight. Again, obviously the knight loves it on f5 if you can make it f5. That's the golden square, right? The f5 knife, right? You want to do stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, you guys are just continuing the game. It's a great game.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, it's a great game. I mean, you guys can keep going if you want. You guys can keep playing. Oh, how about this? You guys keep playing, and then if you want to keep going right now, and then I can play Matt.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
why don't you broadcast your game with Matt?
and then we can have kind of both. And I mean, you guys are in the thick of it. You seem like you're enjoying the game. It's a great game, right? And
Yeah, it's
so
fun.
yeah, it's something kind of like could have come out of a regular game, but still the plans feel a bit different from something you would see out of like a Roy Lopez or a London or something like that. At the same
Yep.
time, though, the thing about my final comments about this is the thing about 960 is that it's all about pawn structure. If you know different pawn structures, it doesn't matter, right? You could come from anything because this is akin to like a King's Indian. Well, usually there's G3, Bishop G2, but this is the King's Indian type of structure where white again has that kind of using that word license to attack, right? White has that license to attack, at least it's more legit, let's say, to attack on the king side, and it's more legit for black to go for the c5 c4 breaks and stuff, and your kings happen to be at the head of those attacks, right?
Yep.
So it's really interesting to see if you guys go for that, but if you understand the structure, then you can aim for that, right?
Yep.
Matt, did you challenge me to? Oh yeah, it
Yep.
is 960 casual. Okay, cool. Oh, let's see another challenge. What is that? I don't even know what this is. Is that you too?
I only did the one, I think.
Oh, I don't know what that's about, but yeah, I see yours on the top now. Um, yeah. So the thing is, this could have come out, but come about through some kind of King's Indian attack. It would be an old Indian actually, because the modern involves with Black 2, Bishop G7, Bishop G2. But now we're looking at well, no Bishop G2. It would be like a blend of that and Bishop C4. It could have come about different ways. Sometimes even from like a Scandinavian, where it's like E4, D5, and then black bypasses and white goes Bishop C4. See, so it doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter how you get there, right? But so that this is the point, right? You'll have that comfort. Now, of course, we got something a little bit still a little more predictable. We didn't get something insane, but also if you get some crazy dynamic pawn structure, you're also going to feel more comfortable, especially in a regular game. It's like, well, I've done my batting practice. I got that kind of position from total, disorientation, starting with complete disorientation. Now, at least I'm getting this position starting with, let's say, a Sicilian, where I already, I've studied some Grandmaster games and I've played it a lot myself, and I have a good sense. But hey, if you could do it at 960, even better in regular chess, right? All right, so now I'm opening up my game with
Yep.
Matt. This is a okay. Now this does not feel normal at all, right, Matt? Ours is very offbeat.
Oh man, look at that.
That's kind of cool. I like how the knights are next to each other.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, we have all this congestion of these important pieces, right? Rook,
Huh.
queen, king. A lot of valuable stuff over there in the corner. Yeah, but naturally, I'd be looking for some structure where I can put my pawns out and just quickly get my knights out, and the knights go next to each other as they cover a bunch of squares. Oops. So let's see. Looking at any weak points. Well, this is a weak point. Has coverage, but what if you can attack it with something weaker like a bishop and a knight? And a pawn. That's a target. It doesn't look like it yet, but that could be a target. This one, not really. This one, yes. So basically the G and the B pawns, because yeah, the G pawn is only guarded by a knight. The moment the knight comes out, which it will, should come out soon, then a pawn will be unguarded. So that's important to keep in mind too. Beyond that, we just want to get good central control. So I'm thinking it either E4, well, these pawns happen to open the bishops as well, so it's all pretty natural. It's just a question whether I want to move my F pawn or my E pawn first. And I think about what he might do in response. Which one, for example, allows him to break more easily? Which one allows him to attack me more easily? Like, for example, if I go here, I have to think about his queen opening up against me. Things like that. Always considering those things. Can't go wrong with E4, I think. Let's do that.
Best by test, right?
What's that?
Best by test.
Best by test, even in 960.
There you go.
Well, now we are testing it. We are testing it in position number 701. Okay. So now we begin with symmetry again, but I will not allow the symmetry to stand for long.
Oh, I know that.
Don't like it. Do not like symmetry. I like to try to
You like
avoid
chaos.
chaos / just trying to get an edge, trying to create imbalances, trying to get an edge, trying to throw my opponent. Yeah, the chaos would be throwing my opponent off, I suppose. But initiative. I want initiative. Okay, well, I can go here. I do that a lot. I'll like stick my knight in front of a pawn, but I'll move the other pawn. Show by F4. Who is watching this? I saw someone came into somebody from Nigeria. Do I know them? Let's see. They haven't played 960. It's Niel. So it looks kind of funny, but no, I do attack your pawn, and I can prepare the F pawn. So what do you do? All right, solidly defend it. Obviously, I want to strike at it. So I move 3, I start my break. I create my break. So it's like a king's gambit now. It's more of a queen's gambit, actually, because it's on if the king were on the right, it would feel more like a king's gambit. Whenever you make this kind of break in the king, and it's relevant, actually, because you're playing, well, it's like you're playing on the queen side. You're playing on the side that's away from the king. So you're not really exposing the king at all in that sense. But I do kind of have the threat. Okay, now Matt defends the pawn by unleashing the queen. In doing so, I am noticing though that he's weakened d6, for example. So he's opening up some dark squares, which he can patch up, but it's still there. That's always there, right? I'm just be like a hawk and try to find ways to come into that point on d6 if you can. Like I said, you can use the f5 square, c4 square. So that's always in the cards. But he is, you are technically attacking my f pawn, I guess. Unless I want to give it to you as a gambit. I could take it, but I don't want you to neutralize the space in the center. Right? If I take you, you take me, you get more space, it gives you a square for your knight. Your bishop can come out. If I push it, I take the tension off the center, which I don't really want to do. I could simply develop my bishop and cover that way. Then I would think to myself, does my bishop become vulnerable on e3? Because it comes out, is it sticking its neck out? I look at ways by which my opponent can go after my bishop. Kind of annoying. So for that reason, I won't do it, because I don't want to get hit by the knight. Because if I had black, I would do that. I can play g3. So I have takes, guard, push, guard. Maybe ignore. Bishop g4 ignores. Not really advised, I think. g3, I'm leaning toward g3. Shove his h-pawn maybe? The match just keeps piling on, huh? Bishop c7. Yeah, c6 looks like a good move. How can I ignore you? I can go here, let you take and come in. Then you go d5, you should probably strike back like that then. I don't love. Trade. Yeah, I want to develop. Okay, how bad is it to develop? I go here. You go here, maybe. Well, if I really don't want you to come in, I just go b3. So I shouldn't be talked out of doing that. I don't really want to play b3, but I do want to play bishop here. So fine, I'll make it work. I'd rather do that. I'd rather think about it like this. I'd rather develop a bishop to guard the pawn than develop a pawn which doesn't do anything to guard the pawn, right? So net gain for this on balance, right? And I didn't allow remember I mentioned the knight block, your knight coming, blocking your pawn and coming in. I thought about that, and for that reason, I almost didn't do it, but I didn't allow myself to be talked out of this kind of potential ghost thing. It's not that big of a deal. I could have easily dismissed it, but I remembered, okay, I'm like, not that bad. Let me try to make what I want work, especially because there was nothing better. So that was kind of my decision-making process in terms of weighing things out. And there's not necessarily a recipe for that. That's just you trying to work things out yourself in terms of weighing things out, pros and cons, making the best, maximizing your prospects, minimizing their prospects, just using that logic. Okay, he's going for it. It's coming. Oh, there you go. I miscalculated something. I was thinking, oh, knight c4, but I'm like, oh, now that I see it, I didn't notice that. I was thinking about you going after my pawn. Interesting. Well, in that case, I have to look at a different cat. Okay, here we are. Miscalculate something. It happens. It wasn't like the most critical line, but it was just kind of an annoying thing he had. But the really annoying thing he has is to take my e pawn now. Even if I allow that, it's like that's the kind of thing, we look at these nuances like, well, ideally I don't allow that to happen. Worst comes to worst, I take back and I'm in the game, but I'm trying to get an edge. But now looking more at this knight takes pawn. Now, is that a real threat or not? Well, if I take his pawn, he takes mine, and then we just kind of trade stuff. If I take his pawn, he goes knight c4. Then I can move. Interesting. Here or something. So the question is whether I could win a pawn if Matt's not careful. We could just liquidate. Yeah, I mean, liquidate the center. I take him. He takes me. I take him. He takes me. That looks fine. Yeah, I think that this move might be at least an equalizing move, though. That was a good move, Matt.
Thank you.
Because again,
Nice.
I was writing it off. I was like, it's a ghost move. Maybe he'll come to haunt me. Knight. Because usually it goes, yeah, I can handle it. Okay. Well, we can follow, same method of just saying, look, I'm just going to keep developing, like knight g3, for example. And you come in and I just keep ignoring you and just developing, right? That's another way to go. So rather than focusing on my bishop, yes, someone says something. So rather than focusing on my, bishop, rather than getting obsessed or preoccupied with the bishop, maybe now I'm like, well, you know what? I obviously don't want to lose my e-pawn. I also really don't like the look of trading pawns and kind of allowing you to liberate your position. We don't like our pawn to liberate their position, right? We're not going to be nice like that. So we go knight g3 and say, you know what? Go ahead and play here. I get more stuff out. You take, okay, I double my pawns, but look, I've got 3 pieces out. You have 0 pieces out. So I'm willing to take that hit in terms of you getting the bishop here and doubling my pawns. By the way, it would also open up the D file to look at your weak D6 square, right? So now I'm beginning to weigh out. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but at least I'm weighing out knight g3 now. Partially because I'm just guarding my pawn. Oh, here's another one, bishop f3. But again, now I get hit with knight c4. But I don't think I get as much this time. Or do I? Doesn't make a difference. No, because I don't want to be on f3 anyhow. I'd rather be on g4. Looking at d7 and so forth. Okay, so purely for the sake of development, I'm liking knight g3. Again, bishop f3 maybe, but I like bishop g4 better. You go h5, okay, I tuck back, probably fine. Again, again, my original thing was, oh, I go b3, you don't care about like, oh, I didn't look at knight takes c4. I was so fixated on that. Okay, it is what it is, right? So I think I'm down to either knight g3. Oh, there is knight move like knight c5. That's actually a move. Or knight f2. Knight c5, then if you go b6, I have some stuff like knight in. That's kind of annoying if I can be like the horsefly knight kind of thing. Come up. But then you could take this pawn next. But not that way. This is too passive. Feels too passive. Because then you still have knight c4. Okay, I'm gonna go with the active developing move because that's the priority right now. And the only other thing again was takes. I don't think I really got anything out of that. So at least now the imbalance I'm going for now is rapid development and maybe actually a little bit of center. Not giving up the center at all. Interesting game, huh? Let me check back on the other game. See how they're doing. Oh, interesting. It's developing a lot. So we
Yeah,
have
it's
what's that?
changed up a bit.
So go knight b4. Oh, well, there your rook does get in the corner now. You guard a2, good. Okay, you go a5, trying to create some action over there. Kick the knight, I kick back, and Leia breaks in the center, and that's where we are now. Very interesting game.
I considered sacrificing the knight, but I couldn't see it all the way through.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough sacrifice. It's a
Oh,
move. Yeah, but maybe you don't have quite enough yet. That would be hard to do. Well, it's like one thing if you take back with the a pawn, then you block the bishop, right? So it's like, so if you could take with the a pawn and not block your bishop, I would have seen more of an argument for it. But
yeah.
you can check with the computer afterwards. Maybe there's a way to. I mean, you would build pressure possibly, but probably going back isn't a bad idea. Okay, back to our game. Yeah, so basically both of us have clashed. It took you guys a little longer to clash, but you ended up clashing. For us, we
Right.
clashed pretty early, partially because I was intentionally trying to clash. Well, because I was specifically, but it just makes a lot of sense to me, just like you play for a King's Gambit, a Queen's Gambit. So, okay, I develop, and now I assume Matt's actually, considering whether or not that's a good thing, going to C4 I look at that as a key candidate move for him. I mean, obviously, I'm very happy if he takes. I think if he goes away from the center and takes the pawn, that's fine. Knight c4 is a move. Maybe he has other developing moves. I'm sure he has other moves that he's considering too as a third option.
Forgot who you're talking to. I get tunnel vision.
I'm talking to you
Way,
now. Well,
way too easy.
I'm talking about you.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it's
I, I
I'm just
sometimes
I'm just talking
convince
about
my
our game. I'm just talking about our game objectively. I try to
I
be objective.
convince myself this one move is going to work and then blow it. But
No, I
anyway,
don't know. I mean, but like the way I see it is, it's either yeah, you take my f pawn. I'm sure it's fine for me. I don't know. It's my intuition tells me it's fine for me. You can go knight c4. That's the thing we talked about. Or maybe you have a third move. Are you looking at knight c4 still?
yeah,
I mean, that's the primary thing to think about. Yeah. I mean, if I go bishop c5, I looked at that very briefly. I'm like, oh, I have bishop c5, but then you just kick me with your other knight. I just get counterattacked with knight f to e6 or knight e6. Yeah. Yeah.
bishop.
No, knight c4 can't be bad. It's just the only drawback is you're spending 3 moves with your knight. Now think about it though. I have spent a bishop move and I'm spending a pawn move, so it's kind of like giving up one tempo. Might be worth it, but it's just something to think about. It does entail some cost. I'm gonna go grab another coffee and get another cup. I'll be right back while you think this through. I need more energy for this. Be right back.
I can't stay on too long. I have a doctor's appointment at 3. So
Yeah, we'll wrap up. We'll wrap up in maybe let's wrap up in about 10 minutes then. Yeah.
okay.
All right. So interesting moment in our game, Matt. If you guys can see our game, it's quite interesting. So ours, it's a very typical kind of chess 960 sort of position, right? Where there's a lot of ambiguity. What I like to do is I like to try to untangle my pieces, but dynamically, right, while putting the onus on my opponent. So I'm looking at D6 weakness, trying to blast stuff open, and trying to simultaneously just castle. I'd probably go king side because I'll have a rook behind my F pawn, like a king's gambit, right? Probably. It'll take me more work to go queen side. That'd be kind of cool if I go king side, and then just my queen slides to E1, then everything's back in the game. So what is Matt? Are you just contemplating knight C4? I guess are you thinking, like I mentioned, whether it's worth it to spend that extra time taking my bishop, or if you have any? I mean, is there an opportunity cost? I mean, what else can you do if you don't take that? What other useful developing moves do you have? At least you would create an imbalance to work with, right? So Matt, what's your thinking on that at this point?
Well, there's that. I mean, I could put the bishop or the knight on c4. I put the bishop out,
Oh, I didn't even think about that move. Yeah, bishop C4 is a good move too. What do you think of that one?
Well, it's developing. I put pressure on that bishop, and you either need to defend it or face possibly having double pawns right in front of your king. Well, exposing your king at the same time. So I assume you defend it with the bishop.
Natural move, yeah. Then you've taken away that square from your knight. So if you're the one that's knight, you've taken it away.
Part of me doesn't want to give this away, but maybe you'll tell me what's wrong with it. I'm also looking at bishop b6, challenging your black square bishop.
So it would be the two moves to look at my bishop. Well, besides taking the pawn, which I'm probably pretty happy with that. I'll just take back.
Yeah, I don't think that's good for me.
I mean, actually, technically, it's a move, but yeah, it's a move to think about. But at least for a little bit, but definitely not up at the top. But bishop b6, so it's similar to knight c4, but it wouldn't create as much of an imbalance. Knight c4 is the most imbalancing move on the board, I'd say, right? Because it creates a knight versus bishop scenario and it doubles my pawns. Well, yeah, I can't go rook here if I'm so obsessed with not doubling my pawns, I'll get forked. If I take back my rook on e3, I get forked on f4 because your queen opens up to guard your f pawn. So there's that. If you want to create, so if you're going for a highly imbalanced position, well, then knight c4 is your move. Knight bishop b6 is kind of similar. It looks at it. It does give me a move to just snatch it, but then it opens up your rook, which I kind of like for you.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, makes sense. If I don't take, you still double my pawns, but you have to give up that dark squared bishop. Well, it's actually a similar thing if you think about, I'll just mention, I mean, this is just for demo purposes. So if you think about going bishop to c4 and taking my knight on d3, yes, you double my pawns, but you give me an uncontested bishop. Always comes up, right? So I double my pawns, and I go play bishop b3, similar to you going bishop b6. I got a nice diagonal, or I go to g4. So you would be going out of your way to give me the bishop pair, but in either case, you're doubling something. You're doubling a pair of my pawns, whether it's the D or the E pawns. So I don't know. It's a really delicate situation here. I mean, nothing's none of those moves can be that bad for you, but it's kind of just a decision point in terms of what you want to do. You're like, I'm not going to waste time with. So it's like just like with me, I want to develop. I chose the developing move. You're like, I can either move the knight again, or I can develop a new piece. I assume that's what it came down to.
That's part of it. Yeah, most of it. I mean, if you take, if we trade bishops here, the bishop pair is off the out of no longer a consideration.
Let's see. Well, what happens now? Now that I've guarded g3, I have to think about taking on e5. Well, maybe I snatch your bishop and then I take on e5, and that gets a little murky. Let me think about it. It's definitely just like Leia had to look at those two options of taking two things in the center. I got to look at it. So it's like bishop takes, pawn takes. Now I don't have to worry about knight c4 at least. Okay, now I take on e5 because previously you would have had knight c4 and like I don't want you to take e3 that much. So I take e5. Let's say pawn takes back. I think that's probably fine. Yes, I open your rook, not the end of the world, but that's a net gain for you. Well, I mean, you have double B pawns. You know, the only problem there is maybe if my queen looks at your pawn later or something. That should be fine for you. You get to open your rook. Benefit for me potentially. I am ahead at tempo or two. Well, I have 3 out, you have 2 out, and I'm about to get a 4th out, so I'd be ahead like 2 tempos. So developing is good, opening the position is good. So simply snatching your bishop, because I don't want to get the tripled pawns. Yeah, so snatching your bishop, then your e-pawn. You take back. I might be able to take your e-pawn. Then you take mine. I mean, what else do I have? Here, otherwise you double my pawns. So it's either I double yours in a favorable way for you, or you double mine in probably not as favorable way for me. I could ignore you and let you take, but then you have knight c4 again. Okay, I'm going to do that because I feel like it's just, I'm going with the dynamism right now. Because I take this one, and now you pretty much have to, you don't have, but remember, before you had knight c4, maybe even as a pawn stack, but now I would just win a free pawn, it looks like. So when you take back, then I might be able to get away with snatching your e-pawn. At the very least, I have more pressure on it. So we'll see where this goes. But I'm just trying to get some initiative, if nothing else. Yeah, pretty much should take that. Okay, now, but like if I take your pawn, you could take my pawn possibly. Then I could do then I might get a desperado knight. I'm like, well, you're gonna take me, I'm gonna snatch something else, right? That's just concrete calculation here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Very murky. Because I take, you take. I can snatch your D pawn or something. Yeah, if I really want to, I can probably get a pawn, but at the cost of development, right? Or I could just go bishop g4 and castle or something. Let's see. Or yeah. If I take your pawn, you take my pawn because your queen opens up. I grab your, let's say I really want that pawn. I grab your D pawn. You take back. I take back. But see, this is this kind of rough thinking, this nuanced thinking of, I can't totally tell, but I can kind of feel that, well, I'm losing development, right? So I take you, you take me. I'm trying to cash in, right? But I'm losing development. I take d7, you take back. I take back on e4, then you have a move like queen e5. You plop your queen where your pawn used to be. My knight's under attack, and you keep developing. See, so in other words, well, I'm just giving the initiative back to you, right? So I'm sensing that this is kind of nuanced, yeah, this nuanced thinking, right? Where it's not 100% clear, but it's just, but it could be a very, in a way, it's very direct. It's I'm giving you the initiative, I'm giving you development, so probably not. And rather than that, I could just keep the pressure on your e pawn and develop. Because I think my game right now is to develop. So I can just, yeah, I just want to bring out my bishop and castle. Let's see. And the pressure on the pawn stands. And if you want to go ahead and deal with it, that's going to cost you more time, right? That's kind of my logic on that. Let's see. So it's one or the other. I'm still going to look back at this one more time. I take you, you take me. Okay, I do something with my knight. Oh, if I take d7, your knight develops. What if I take c6? Okay, I take c6. You take back and double your pawns. Then I take e4. Okay, now at least, now I didn't help your knight develop to d7. I don't double your pawns, but your knight doesn't develop. That's a little more viable. I mean, if I don't see anything concrete, I'll just grab the pawn. Let me see. Because it is a pawn. If I come out. But I have a nice thing in development, that's for sure. But bishop where? Bishop g4, you can challenge me. Bishop e6, maybe. Takes. Let's see. I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I'm not totally sure. But obviously, I see you can counterattack me. Because my knight's loose. But I think I didn't like the line of knight d7 and your knight takes on d7 and you get a lot of development. I want to minimize your development if I'm going to try to take a pawn. Be merciless, right? Give them nothing or as little as you can. All right, let's check back on your guys' game. Oh, things have changed a lot over here. What is going on? 1, 2, 4, 6. Okay, so Leia, it looks like Matt, you're coming in for an attack, but Leia has held you off. Had to give up a couple pawns, but no checkmate. Good defense. So yeah, I guess when it came down to it, c3 was probably too early because a3 was under attack, right? It's kind of tricky, but maybe you had to play a4 or something. So c3 was probably early. Matt ended up, not Matt, this game, Dave. Dave ended up winning some material. Okay. Oh, knight d4. Okay, knight d4 forcing the pawn to come into guard the other pawn, getting a wedge. Okay, that was good. And then that ends up yielding a couple pawns, but it looks like it could be a
Yeah, I had a threatened fork, knight fork.
Yeah, I saw that.
If they had taken,
That basically forced her to take.
yep.
Yeah, because queen d1, c2 check would pick up the exchange. Yeah, then you get to keep your wedge, the annoying wedge pawns not going away. Yeah, so you're up a couple pawns, but let's see if it's a rook and pawn endgame. It's not an easy game to win, so that would be an interesting one.
Yeah, and I actually probably just brought my queen in prematurely, I think, but I don't think I have a whole lot of choice. But
well, I mean, you could take the endgame if you want the endgame. Do you want the endgame? Is the question.
I guess it's a question.
Yeah, good defense. Good defense by Leia.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, you end up getting a couple pawns, but that's not the end of the world. If rook and pawn, any one of those heavy piece endgames is very difficult. Like, what if she wins a pawn back? Okay, one pawn is really often not decisive in those kinds of endgames.
Yeah.
David, I'm gonna have to get going. I just made my move though.
Okay, you just took. All right, I'll make my move, and then I'll try to stay on top of this. I usually let them time out, but hey, at least it's been a good start. Well,
This
maybe
is casual with no time control, so
yeah, it'll time out after. I think if you don't make a move after a few weeks, it times out somehow.
oh, okay.
Anyway, nice job, Matt. Good to see you again. See you next Monday. Yeah, keep it going. That's good.
Take care, Matt.
3 guys.
Take care, folks.
That's good. That's great. And hopefully you guys will show up consistently. We'll keep it, bring in a few other students maybe, and I'll keep it going consistently again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
See you
Let's
later.
see here. Take care, Matt. Good luck with the appointment.
Hey, David, I know we were supposed to do our thing today. How do you want to handle that?
Yeah. Do you want to, I messaged you actually. I don't know if you saw it because I can see you're engrossed in your game. So
Yeah, I'm okay with just keep continuing this game for a few minutes if that's all right with you. And then we can...
Well, why don't we take a break at 2? How about that? Then we can do our lessons.
Okay, I'm gonna have to drop by like 2:30 though. So
Okay, maybe it could be a little bit of a hybrid, I guess. We'll
Why don't
figure
we
it
call
out.
this a lesson? We'll just call this a lesson, and we'll do it that way. Okay.
Oh, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, we could. Oh, I mean, we could blend it with one-on-one after this until 2:30 if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we do that? That's
Yeah, that
fine.
way it's a hybrid. Now we get a hybrid. So
Yeah.
getting some good analysis and good game, or most of the game. Okay, I'll
Yep.
make my move against Matt. Let's see here. Then I'll look at your guys' game again. Can I actually give up my knight? If I cough up my knight, can he move? I might need to take d7 actually. Not what I wanted to do. She go though. So if I take c6, then I'm looking at something where, okay, if he takes me, I pick up a pawn. Not ideal. I didn't love it. I cover. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a pawn. I was like, well, what if he moves his queen? No, not there. Maybe here. And then if I take it, actually that's fine for me too. He'll just take back. It'll be a trade. If he does take me, I take. If he doesn't take me, oh wait, what else does he even have? Here? Then I have rook f1. I think it's fine. Now, fortunately, he doesn't have a smothered mate or something. That would be bad. Then I'd be getting too greedy. That's when you get greedy. You go after a pawn to get smothered mated, and you learn a big lesson, right? So the idea is it's desperado. So you take me, I take you back. You move something. What was it going to be here? Well, I could just snatch and then I could just move. I could just move away. Or no, I'll just take him. He takes me, and then I go back. Or I go bishop. No, I go bishop f3 or d3 and a castle, and it's okay. Interesting. Then I'll go back to your guys' game.
Yeah. Take a peek. I think I don't know what's going to happen, honestly.
Where'd it go? Here it is. Okay, so you got a4 in. It's tricky because there's a pin.
Yep.
There is one attempt. Let's see. Yeah, I think Leia only probably has one good defensive move. Maybe you could find it. I mean, b3 is under serious attack there, so Leia probably only has one good move. Let's see if that works. We'll find out. Yeah, she should be okay if she. I mean, obviously you have a nice initiative in this game because you know that. Yeah, your initiative began first with where did it
Yeah.
start?
I think my
Where did it start? I mean, really, it started with you created your battery and then A3. Oh, maybe what it comes down to was interestingly, A3 actually, by kicking the knight, it actually opened up your bishops. That's when you started to get some initiative. So maybe, I don't know, it's a tough call, really tough call as to what it's tricky because you have activity first. You know, like Leia would have to get stuff going over here to match your activity, right?
right.
So you had the activity first, and then probably C3 didn't work because
Yeah.
yeah, you probably got to play King A2, and then if the knight checks and trick, probably take it, or else just move back.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was King A2 or A4 or something. Yeah, probably King A2 was the way to go. And then it's tricky. It's really close, but you did get an initiative. You got some pawns out of it. So now Leia's just trying to So you try to defend this position.
Yeah.
So you guys want to take a break there?
Yeah, why don't we, Leo, thanks for the game. If you want to keep playing it, I can leave it on in the background and
Yeah.
continue.
That sounds good. Yeah, Leia, we'll just leave it on, and then whenever she makes a move, you guys can keep playing. That sound good, Leia?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Hey,
really,
thanks.
yeah, really instructive game. Really good practice game. A lot of great moments here. A lot
Yeah,
of interesting moments in terms of breaking the symmetry and stuff. And I think it's pretty even. We'll have to see afterwards to analyze this, the whole D5, D4.
yep,
And you probably also just, oh, that's what I was wondering, whether earlier there was something with like a take. And then that's like what I mentioned, Dave, you have to think about your e-pawn being exposed.
right,
And then she can maybe snatch your knight. I don't know. And you have diagonal pressure. It's probably
right.
okay.
Then
So
I lose my D pawn.
you looked
Yeah,
at that. Yeah, you might, but even if you lose the e-pawn, I think you have compensation. So that was certainly something to think about. But anyway, you got the bypass, which gives you a space advantage. But Leia's got a good counterattack. So I don't know. It's probably pretty close. But then really, yeah, you just got your pawns after this move. Yeah. So yeah, I think it was really just mistimed.
Great.
C3 was probably just mistimed. That's about it. But anyway, it's a great practice game. All right,
Yeah,
so we'll take a break there, and I'll just end the call
definitely.
there. All right, guys, and I'll see you next week, and then you can hop on later, Dave. Yeah, after that.
Yep. All right. Hey,
Okay,
thank you.
sure thing. Yeah, great seeing you guys.